Welcome to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, a show all about reviewing dinosaurs on a scale of 1 to 10 fossils before only the elite terrible lizards make it into the prehistoric cage match. This program is presented by the Stomp Tromp Roar Company and can be heard within all the rock layers across the planet. Grab your dinosaurs and your official scorecard because it's now time to dig for dinosaurs. Here's your Mesozoic host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony.
Welcome all my junior paleontologists. This is your host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and welcome to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing April. Today is Monday, April 29th, 2024. Now today is a very special day here at my house, and that's because today is the 16th year anniversary since my wife and I officially started dating way back in 2008. Where did the time go? So you guys, a very special heartfelt shout out to my beautiful pteranodon loving wife, Elise. Now today has also been 3 weeks since my family and I boarded the Disney Wish cruise ship. We just had so much fun on our 8-day, 7-night vacation down to Orlando, Florida and the beautiful Bahamas. It was the best time ever. The Disney cruise was just so magical. Everything from the food to the entertainment and to the staff was absolutely amazing. The Disney Wish cruise ship was wonderful. There's just so many positive things I can say, but we would be here the rest of the day, or at least for another hour or so. Now, nonetheless, we are already planning our next Disney cruise vacation. We're looking into Halloween or Christmas themed cruises for next year in 2025. Also, like you guys already knew, my wife and I, we surprised our kids with a day at Universal Studios before we boarded the Disney Wish. We were able to ride so many rides, it was fantastic. And since we also stayed at a Universal Studios hotel, we even got to enter the park a whole hour before the park officially opened. We walked straight to the Velocicoaster and there was no line. My wife and I, we got straight into the front row and it was amazing. And also, probably the wildest roller coaster I've ever been on. It was just nuts, especially at 8:15 in the morning. As you can probably tell, it was just the best vacation ever. And I'll admit, I teared up a few times when we got off the ship. I just didn't want it to come to an end. I couldn't believe that it was almost over. I surely hope that someday all of my listeners can experience the magic of not only a Disney cruise, but Disneyland or Walt Disney World. It's a little cliche, but it truly is the happiest place on Earth. Now today's episode is a quick recap of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast and a teaser for our next possible what could be final episode. I'm going to get all that nitty-gritty dinosaur talk out of the way so that our next episode starts off with a boom! Or at least a campfire. Well, where do we start? Probably with episode 1, don't you think? All the way back on August 25th of 2021, I started the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Not only has my podcast come so far since then, but so has Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and that's me. I bet I sounded pretty goofy and maybe even new to podcasting if I went back and listened to some of those early episodes. Now, regardless, the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast kept going week after week after week. And over the last 8 seasons, I've reviewed a number of dinosaurs and other prehistoric genus. Each time, I gave them a score of 1 out of 10 stars, aka, you know what they're called, they're fossils. 1 fossil for some of the weakest creatures, and 10 fossils for some of the strongest creatures. Then every 10th episode, I took the top 2 scoring dinosaur genus from each season, and we let them go one-on-one inside the prehistoric cage match. Then, after we named 4 prehistoric cage match champions, we let them battle in an ultimate prehistoric fatal 4-way we called the Clash of the Dinosaur Champions. These episodes have been just so much fun to write. I've also loved how they've evolved into more than just 2 dinosaurs fighting. I've almost gave life to so many different dinosaur characters. Each episode filled with so many Easter eggs about what I love in life. It's truly been amazing. Now, all these battles have led us up to where we are today. Our next episode is going to be for all the gold and all the glory. It's time for a rematch between the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Spinosaurus Aegyptiacus. But hey, should we name all the dinosaurs we reviewed over more than 80 episodes? Why not, right? If not, go ahead and fast forward a minute or two. Well, actually, don't. I don't want you guys to miss out on all the fun. Now, on season number 1, we reviewed the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Triceratops, the Suchomimus, the Amargasaurus, the Velociraptor, the Dilophosaurus, the Pachycephalosaurus, the Apatosaurus, and the Spinosaurus. In our first prehistoric cage match, the Tyrannosaurus Rex would defeat the Spinosaurus in a heavily close battle. The T-Rex would bite onto the Spinosaurus's tail and stomp its sail into the ground before striking what we thought was the fatal blow. Then on season 2, we reviewed the Stegosaurus, the Allosaurus, the Therizinosaurus, the Gallimimus, the Dimorphodon, the Utah Raptor, the Parasaurolophus, the Troodon, and the Chirostenotes. That season's prehistoric cage match, the Utah Raptor would defeat the Allosaurus in a desert-like environment, thanks to the help from the Raptor Pack and a sharp Stegosaurus Thagomizer. On season 3, we reviewed the Herrerasaurus, the Ankylosaurus, the Styracosaurus, the Megalosaurus, the Quetzalcoatlus, the Augustinolophus, the Oviraptor, the Kentrosaurus, and then finally, the Compsognathus. During our third prehistoric cage match, the Ankylosaurus would become our first herbivore champion by defeating the Megalosaurus in a prehistoric forest. The Megalosaurus would meet its doom after a Mesozoic thunderstorm turned the battlefield into a muddy mess. Then on season 4, we reviewed the Nanotyrannus, the Iguanodon, the Giganotosaurus, the Pteranodon, the Microceratus, the Cryolophosaurus, the Woolly Mammoth, the Ankylosaurus, and the Brachiosaurus. For our fourth prehistoric cage match, we traveled to the fabulous Stomples Resort to witness the Brachiosaurus defeat the Giganotosaurus thanks to a little bit of salt water and a strike from that sauropod's long neck. We also heard as the Spinosaurus returned to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast to deal an all but fatal blow to the Giganotosaurus after that Brachiosaurus crushed the legs of the Giganotosaurus into the Caribbean waters. It was just wild to see the return of that Spinosaurus Aegyptiacus. After our fourth prehistoric cage match, we then had our first Clash of the Dinosaur Champions. This was between the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Utah Raptors, the Ankylosaurus, and the Brachiosaurus. The T-Rex would come out victorious in the southern Jurassic Bayou Swamp after it defeated these other dinosaurs. And hey, we still don't know whatever happened to that Barbasol can that we lost in the swamp. I sure hope it doesn't give us maybe like a new podcast series, wink wink Paleo Tales. Then on season 5, we reviewed the Irritator, the Impellosaurus, the Sarcosuchus, the Stegosaurus, the Parasagosaurus, which is technically a hybrid, the Carnotaurus, the Rhamphorhynchus, the Dinochirus, and the Diabloceratops. In our fifth prehistoric cage match, the Carnotaurus would defeat the Dinochirus, even with the help of the DWO, known as the Dinosaur World Order, which included the Rhamphorhynchus, the Diabloceratops, and its leader, the Dinochirus. This battle took place at Impello's Pumpkin Patch and Cycad Orchard. That Dinosaurus would meet its doom over a cauldron of hot caramel for all those caramel apples. We would also hear the return of that pesky Spinosaurus when we heard it in the old graveyard mausoleum. Then on Season 6, we reviewed the Tethys hadros, the Ceratosaurus, the Dinobellator, the Cosmoceratops, the Nyctosaurus, the Nanuqsaurus, the Colovosaurus, the Alamosaurus, and the Acrocanthosaurus. That season's prehistoric cage match, the Acrocanthosaurus would defeat the Alamosaurus at Dinosaur Mania. The Acrocanthosaurus would spear the Alamosaurus right in front of the famous Alamo before it bit down onto the neck of that giant sauropod. In this prehistoric cage match, we would also hear the Spinosaurus eating its seafood dinner inside the Bubba Gump Shrimp Restaurant right there on the famous Riverwalk in San Antonio. Seafood. Then on Season 7, we took a road trip across America and reviewed the Nevada Dromius, the Postosuchus, the Pentaceratops, the Appalachiosaurus, the Edmontosaurus, the Tylosaurus, the Diplodocus, or is it the Diplodocus? Well, anyways, go listen to that episode again to learn all about dinosaur names. We also reviewed the Ichthyovenator and the Synopterus. During our 7th prehistoric cage match, the Ichthyovenator would defeat the Pentaceratops with a fatal tail whip, sending that ceratopsian into the old tomb of General George Washington. The Ichthyovenator would become the first president of Isla Nublar and also become the second Spinosaurid-type dinosaur to win a prehistoric cage match battle. We also heard that Spinosaurus near the shores of the Potomac River as it roared up into the sky to help reawaken the Ichthyovenator. Then on Season 8, our most recent season, we reviewed the Carcharodontosaurus, the Corythosaurus, the Archelon, the Dracorex, the Dimetrodon, the Baryonyx, the Nigersaurus, the Pachyrhinosaurus, the Hesperosaurus, and the Deinonychus. Then, on our 8th prehistoric cage match, the Baryonyx would overcome the odds, including all those compies, and defeat the mighty Godfather-like Carcharodontosaurus in the streets of the prehistoric Little Italy thanks to its heavy pizza cutter-like claws. Oh yeah, and don't forget, we may have heard that Spinosaurus down in the old prehistoric alley. After that prehistoric cage match, we again found ourselves with 4 prehistoric cage match champions, and on our way to the second Clash of the Dinosaur Champions episode. This time, it would be the Acrocanthosaurus versus the Carnotaurus versus the Baryonyx versus the Ichthyovenator in a battle at the prehistoric Yellowstone Ranch. This time, the meat-eating bull, known as the Carnotaurus, would come out victorious. But unfortunately, though, the Spinosaurus would return to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast and wreak all sorts of havoc on our show and end the celebration of the Carnotaurus before it even began. It was just so devastating. But thankfully, the Tyrannosaurus Rex would issue an open challenge in the hopes to end all the destruction the Spinosaurus has done to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Will the T-Rex continue its reign as the king? Will the T-Rex be the sheriff that we need? Will the T-Rex be our knight in dinosaur armor? It's just about time to find out. Now, after 83 amazing episodes, it's all come down to this. Our next episode is going to be an ultimate rematch between 2 of the most famous apex predators of all time, hands down. It's time to finally answer one of the most talked about dinosaur battles in history. This simple but tough question is asked more than any one other. who would win between the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Spinosaurus Aegyptiacus? Will the Tyrannosaurus Rex hold on to its kingdom, or will the Spinosaurus take over as the supreme dinosaur of the Mesozoic era? It's time for the ultimate rematch. It's time for the KPG Showdown. In just a moment, these two massive theropods will rise up from their paddocks below and face off one-on-one in an ultimate prehistoric rematch for the ages, for the periods, and for the eras. It's a meat eater found in North America and a meat eater found in Northern Africa. Let's bring up these terrible lizards. It's time for one more Bruce Buffer-like intro. Stomp Chomp Roar welcomes you to the KPG Showdown. We are live from the Stomp Chomp Roar Science Lab Studios. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the ultimate prehistoric rematch. It's the KPG Showdown. It's time for the undisputed heavyweight Dinosauria Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a fossil score of 9.1, stretching 50 feet long, 23 feet high, and weighing in at 18,000 pounds. From the mid-Cretaceous period, some 95 million years ago, fighting out of the Bahariya Formation of Western Egypt, it's a sailback theropod, it's the spiny lizard, it's the Spinosaurus! Introducing its opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a fossil score of 9.3, stretching 40 feet long, 20 feet high, and weighing in at 15,000 pounds. From the late Cretaceous period, some 66 million years ago, fighting out of the Hell Creek Formation in the state of Montana, it's the one and only, it's the Tyrant Lizard King, it's the Tyrannosaurus Rex! No disqualifications, no countouts. Falls count anywhere. Let's have a fair, clean fight, touch claws, and back into your corners.
Round one, fight!
Now, are you ready for the ultimate prehistoric rematch? It's going to be the wildest show on Earth. So stay tuned for the greatest prehistoric cage match the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast has ever heard. During our next episode, we will see the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Spinosaurus Aegyptiacus battle it out one more time for our dinosaur enjoyment. It's going to be the KPG Showdown. Now, I would love to have this episode released on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. So go ahead and mark your calendars. But hey, I want to hear from you, all my listeners. Feel free to have your parents message me on Facebook just by searching Stomp Chomp Roar. Just let me know if you're a super fan of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast and if you think the T-Rex or the Spinosaurus is going to win this final matchup. I truly love hearing from all my amazing fans. Now, until our next episode, my name is Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, your host of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, and as always, keep digging for dinosaurs.
Ah!